It's just barely 8 a.m., and already Stephen Larson is wide awake, Red Bull in hand, ready to talk about the worm.
There's Andre. Hello, Andre.
Hi, Balash.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Collaborators video conference in from Scotland, England, Los Angeles. For Larson, it's bright and early in San Diego, but it's getting late for one team member in Siberia.
The guys from Novosibirsk. Yeah, it's like midnight or 1 a.m. for them.
We're listening in on a meeting of OpenWorm, the globe-spanning, volunteer-driven research project aiming to digitally simulate the C. elegans worm. If you're not a computational biologist, this probably sounds like a weird hobby. But it's something scientists have been trying to pull off for a long time. Larson, OpenWorm's San Diego-based coordinator, explains why.
Something even as mundane seeming as the way that a worm wiggles and crawls is still a mystery in terms of what's happening moment by moment inside of the nervous system. Which neurons are active, how are they influencing the muscles, exactly when, exactly why. And so when you take off the hood and you sort of zoom in and you look at this world, it's actually very complex.
And all that complexity is squeezed into a tiny package. C. elegans worms are about as long as a strand of human hair is thick.
It has a very, very small sort of proto-brain with 302 neurons and 1,000 cells.
For comparison's sake, human brains have tens of billions of neurons. Yet these worms show fairly advanced behavior. They mate, they seek food, they run from danger, and they're one of the most studied organisms in biology. That's why Larson thinks if our goal is to understand the brain as thoroughly as we understand a computer chip, the C. elegans is an excellent place to start.
What you can learn here from a crawling worm is applicable to understanding humans, and because it's the same building blocks. The real goal is that if we understand biology at that level, I think it lets us cure diseases in a way that we've never been able to do before.
Simulating any kind of life from scratch is no easy task. 3 years in, OpenWorm has had some success modeling the outer muscles of the worm. Larson plays me a YouTube video to prove it.
This is probably like 1 second, I think, of real worm movement.
Looking at this highly detailed model, I start to wonder, could a computer-simulated worm be so accurate as to be indistinguishable from a real, living worm? And if so, would that digital worm be alive in any sense of the word? I remember a bold claim the science fiction author Philip K. Dick once made.
We are living in a computer-programmed reality.
I pose these far-out questions to Larson, but he wisely avoids daydreaming too deeply.
I fall short of suggesting that something is alive or is not alive fully, because I think that is a philosophical question. I think it's something that could be very controversial.
But these themes resonate strongly with San Diego-based science fiction author David Brin, who's taken a real interest in OpenWorm.
There's always the question of how well the model matches reality, and whether or not there comes a point where they merge. I've written science fiction in which humans have the ability to make copies of themselves, and these copies can move around and do as you wish. The C. elegans work is an example of science catching up with this ancient human dream.
Stephen Larson is the first to admit that OpenWorm is a long way off from realizing that dream, even in a worm. But he's also excited, especially when he thinks about all the funding going toward brain modeling right now.
There's a lot of exciting investments in this area with the stuff going on in Europe and stuff going on in the US, Obama's Brain Initiative and all that. So in the next 10 years may be very exciting for this, so we'll see.
But don't expect to see your digital twin soon. If programming a lowly worm is this hard, computer simulating humans will be really hard. When describing OpenWorm, Larson often says we have to crawl before we can walk. David Wagner, KPBS News.
How's that part going?